Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. Hope you guys are doing well out there and had a good weekend. Going to take a look at the top 8 forwards today. Now, that could be a pretty difficult task because there ain't too much bobbing up for any premiums, really. There's probably one or two that we can trust at the moment, so picking a top 8 could be pretty difficult, but I'll give it a crack. I was doing the list before, and after about the top 4 or 5, it really just drops right away and you can't trust too much. So we're going to need a bit of help with some dual position players getting forward status. We'll certainly need that. But at this stage, I'm just kind of approaching it with really going fairly light on in the forward line. A couple of speculative picks like Jordan I'm entertaining, Fife I'm entertaining. Could Cam Rayner be an option? No one's talking about him, but he's actually playing inside mid. I know Lockie Neal didn't play in that practice match, but he's there and about. So I just wonder if McCluggage goes out to a wing and Rayner comes inside for a bit more explosiveness for them to take that next step. But anyway, I'll probably talk about him another time. Zach Fisher, people interested in him? I don't know. Bailey Humphrey. Anyway, let's take a look at the top 8. But if you guys have been watching for sort of the last few weeks, you've been noticed that I've probably been saying I've been a bit tired, a bit buggered after coming back from that trip in Early Beach. Not really feeling 100%. Anyway, the other day I thought I'll go in for a blood test, because I've just been feeling drowsy, getting better, but not 100%. Had the blood test, which, for the record, not a big fan of those. I don't know how you guys go, but injections and stuff, needles, no dramas. It's bang, straight in, straight out. But the blood test, it just gets me a little bit. I can't look at the thing. I don't like it. And I got in there, I was a little fucking worried about it. Lady's I was like, oh, you've had a good day? She's like, oh, it's been shocking actually. I'm like, fuck, great. She's like, you're not going to pass out on me, are you? I'm like, let's hope not, mate. I mean, I have once before, but let's hope not. I passed out way back when this student doctor or nurse or something was taking blood from me, and they obviously fucked it up, and he should have just pretended he knew what he was doing. I want to just have full confidence in you, mate. Don't give me any sort of doubt. And he's, oh, sorry, I've just missed the vein. Just give me a moment. And he's moving around in it, and I could feel him moving in my vein, and I passed out. I was gone, mate. It was no good, but didn't pass out on the most recent occasion. Anyway, I took the bloods. Long story short, indicators of glandular fever. So that's not ideal, is it, for Shorty? I did have that when I was 19 or 20, so apparently it's one of those things that just sticks with you. You don't ever get rid of it. It just kind of lays dormant with you. And clearly it's flared up, so that's a bit of fun. You just got to rest, so I guess I'll just take it easy. But yeah, kind of good to know in a way that something was off, because I was feeling off, but also well, that's annoying, Anyway, speaking of annoying, this forward line, I'm going to go through my top 8. And like I said, I wouldn't be picking many of these guys. It might just help you for your draft team and that, but I'm going to pick it on who I think will average the most. And I'm going to go our number 1 forward for the year. And I wonder if people agree with this or not. This would be nice if the laptop actually wanted to fucking show the players. McRae. Now, he's had an interrupted pre-season. I think he's going to be right for round 1. But, he really fell away last year. He was playing more on a flank and not quite in the centre bounce. But I do feel with everything we've got on offer, plus with Bailey Smith going down, I actually feel he still will be the number 1 forward for us this year. I'm happy to not pick him. I may still pick him, but I'm happy to not. I mean, he's in 26% of sides. I'm more than happy to not pick him and just see where he does fit in, whether he does go back more inside with Bailey Smith not there, or does he go even further out and just sort of average around 90? He only averaged, he did average 99.9 last year, but you just get the sense with a not so inside mid role that it's just something that turns you off from picking him, I reckon. So it's got me a little bit worried. But yeah, I think McRae is the guy for me that I'm going to have as number 1. Actually, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I was just thinking about it in my head. I think I'm swapping that. I think it's Flanders. I was just like thinking through who I was going to talk about next, and I was like, hang on a sec. I'll probably see McRae more your mid-90s, and I think Flanders could take it up to 3 figures. So stuff that. Flanders can go number 1, and McRae can go number 2 if this ever wants to fucking load. God, what is going on? Oh, internet issues over at Shorty's household. But yeah, Flanders certainly a great option. He's in a stack of sides. He's looking fantastic. Even Dimmer said get him into your SuperCoach team. So I think certainly the one that's going to be the most popular selection for everyone in SuperCoach this year. What is going on here? Yeah, midfield time. The way he finished last year was outstanding. Really was a treat for me in draft. And he sort of teased for a while or promised for a while, and he certainly delivered. So I think he'll be the number 1. Ford, Flanders is the guy that a lot of people will be starting. What is his ownership? It'd have to be... Oh, this is a fucking nightmare, this is. Could we just load properly for God's sake? Jesus. I've got dinner at my folks in like half an hour. I just want to do a SuperCoach video and just bloody load it up and then head off. Is it that much to ask? Fuck me. Well, there's my current forward line for you. I had a team update the other day. There's a team update on TikTok as well for those who are interested. But yeah, Flanders, number 1. McRae, number 2. Number 3 was a bit tricky, but I am going with... Where is he? Dustin Martin. Now, a few people... I don't know if people will agree with this one, but I do think he'll return to predominantly midfield time. And I just get the sense that he's been a little bit bored recently, not challenged. The side's not playing in as many big games. I think a new coach... a new challenge, a new person to impress and prove his worth. I just feel like Martin plays his best footy when he's actually got purpose and proving people wrong. And I don't know if he's had that recently. Bit of a gut feel, but I feel like I want to start him. He's not currently in my team, but I could see him averaging mid to high 90s. He obviously has his drawbacks, hates to tackle, sometimes picks and chooses when he plays well. He does love to get up for the big games, but, he is a bit inconsistent. But at his best, we know how good he is. So I think Martin, number 3 for me. And a few people would probably have this man a bit higher. Some might even have him as number 1. But Luke Jackson comes in at 4 for me. And I just don't know what we're going to get with Sean Darcy and Jackson. I don't know how that's going to marry up with each other. We saw how Gawn and Grundy went. It wasn't overly impressive. I still think Darcy's going to be their main guy. I think Jackson will certainly have some amazing numbers, but his best scores last year were without Darcy. I did the numbers the other week. I think with Darcy he averaged 87. Without him he averaged like 114. So yeah, it's a no-brainer if Darcy goes down. But until then I can probably see him just averaging around early 90s. If Darcy were to play 15 plus games, then it doesn't make him a good selection. If Darcy goes down, only plays, 5 to 9, then Jackson's probably a good pick. But not one I want to start. I'd just like to see how they combine and what his actual role is at the Dockers. In at number 5, and it's a guy who's not in too many teams, but Caleb Daniel. He's a favourite of ours from years gone by. He was a premium defender once upon a time. Now finds himself as a mid-forward. And it's just a real close watch on where they do play him, because he did actually line up in some centre bounces. I'm not too interested in that. His best position is certainly off half-back, but they've sort of gone a bit more Bailey Dale, Ed Richards. He's too good of a player to not average at least in the 90s. So he's a safe bet to be in most of our teams at some stage for the year, you would imagine. But if he does roll back to half-back, he certainly becomes one of the absolute prime inclusions, because he's probably unders. If he's rolling off half-back, you can lock him in to average at least 95. But again, a bit like Jackson, where it all lies for him and position and exactly his role, a little unclear. So pretty happy to not start with him just off the back of that. And like I said before, the first 4 or 5 were relatively clear, but after this, I mean, there'll be someone that bobs up that we just didn't expect. Like it might be a Jordan, it might be in that 5. Hell, it might be bloody Harley Reid off half back and through the middle. I don't know. But at this stage of the year, I mean, you've just got to go with a bit more tried and true commodities, and it does make it tough. I mean, Dylan Moore probably would have been in at number 6 for me before the injury. So I've gone Toby Green. You know, he's just class, match winner, big game performer. You know, the role he plays isn't SuperCoach friendly, but he's probably the best in the comp at that role. He pushes up. He plays bigger than he actually is. He's a superstar, and I think the Giants are set for another good year. So certainly not one I'm interested in selecting for my actual starting squad, but 10% of yous are. He's a bit more popular than I anticipated. You know, he's more popular than the bloke I put at number 3, Dusty Martin. But yeah, got him at 6. In at 7, I've got, where is he? I've got Shai Bolton. Again, he's in 10% of sides, and for me, he's just too good to not be in this top 8 at this stage of the year. I'm hearing that he's going to play more forward and Martin's playing more midfield, so it doesn't exactly bode well. I don't see him averaging 96. I'll probably see him averaging around 90, give or take. Probably more in the early 90s, but yeah, again, new coach, might be a new role, but he's got that superstar factor, and he's just too good to not average good numbers, a bit like Green, regardless of whether it's through the middle or not. These guys know how to score points, but not one I'm thinking about starting. And in for number 8, Curnow was, you know, just about that guy, but I have gone for Jeremy Cameron in at number 8. Yeah, I think Curnow would probably average some really good numbers again, and I've just gone Jez. I mean, look, you could make a case that Curnow could be in front of Green and Bolton and Cameron, but like I said, it's hard to have any real trust or conviction with these last few spots. Jezza was playing insane footy before he went down with injury last year, and I just think he's looking back to some really good form, going to be pushing high as Hawkins plays very deep in his latter years, and yeah, I just think toss of the coin, but I can see him averaging around those early 90s. Very similar to Bolton, very similar to Curnow. It's not a knock on him, but this forward line's tough. Like I've said a couple of times, could a Rochelle come from nowhere? Could, I don't know, bloody Taylor Adams bob up and average some good numbers if he gets fit in that midfield? Could Rochelle just go bang and really announce himself to the comp? Maybe, but at this stage, if I was going to a SuperCoach draft and looking to have a bit more reliable commodities as opposed to a breakout contender like those other guys I just mentioned, these are the players I would run with. So it's not the best options we've ever had for a premium setup in our forward line, but here they are. They are the guys. Let me know your thoughts. It's probably up for a fair bit of debate, but feel free to comment what your top 8 or top 6 would be. Cheers.